professional live stream at number 63. I can't believe how many of these we've done. As usual, there'll be a theme to tonight's discussion. The discussion will be about UK-based transport museums and your favourite ones of those. Recently, I went to the Withell Transport Museum, actually known as the Transport Museum Withell, which is very confusing to get your head around, but that's just the way that it is. And the video of the museum itself will be going live on the channel tomorrow. There are two videos of that already. One of them was a little gathering that was happening there for the breakfast meeting on Sunday the 16th. And then another one which was called Octagons and Longships, which was sort of like a follow-up to Pride of Longbridge, but a much smaller event. I actually preferred the Octagons and Longships gathering at Transport Museum Withell to Pride of Longbridge. Pride of Longbridge is massive, and about 30% of the cars are 75s and ZTs. And we can't talk about a lot of the 75s and ZTs viewers because, well, we don't talk about diesels on this channel, as you know. So yes, it was a good one. Those of you who are channel members, you've got access to all three of those slightly shambolic shuffles already. Those of you who are not, well, you will just wait until tomorrow, and that video will go live anyway. So I do hope that you enjoy it. The most successful museum video I think we ever did on the channel was actually at the British Motor Museum. I think it was either in 2020 or 2021. I totally forget which one it was. I think it was 2020. And I did multiple slightly shambolic shuffles at the BMC Leyland show. And I thought those would do the best, but actually the one that just go around the museum, which I did as a total afterthought, that did better. I don't know why. But there we go. You know, sometimes these things don't make any sense, which is very strange, but there we are. Right, so I've got the chat box up here separately. We'll just have a look to see what the chat comments are so far. There we go. Right, we've got it. Brilliant. So, Paulie Galcheri says, "Good evening." Good evening, sir. Simone from Hooks on Classics, who's 75 we memorably avoided at Pride of Longbridge, says hello. Hello to you, Simone. Mark from Bad Book says, "Good evening, all." Good evening to you, sir. Everything Cars says, "Hi, everyone." Good evening to you. Simone from Classics says, hello to Mark from Bad Books, and also to Paulie Galtieri. Let me just turn this phone off. I don't need that. There we go. Paulie Galtieri says, "Good evening to everyone." Max from DMGRS says, "Good evening to everybody." Good evening, sir. Julian Knight says, "Good evening." Good evening to you, sir. Everything Cars says, "This is a very good question. What was your first car?" My first car was a 1998 Mark III Volkswagen Polo 1.4 CL 5-door in bright green. Was the first car that my sister and I had in 2001. I think my grandfather made an investment for us when we were very young, about 83 or something, maybe investment, and the investment matured, and my mother used the money to buy the car for us and had that car until 2006. I've been trying to get hold of a Mark III Polo for review for quite some time, actually. Pre-facelift one like the one that I had, but I've not been successful in that. That car died, as far as the MOT history goes, about 2012, I think it died. What was it? S880 KPO was the registration number. From I think Winchester Motor Company registered it when we were still a Volkswagen dealer, a Skoda dealership now, on St Cross Road at Winchester. Matt W says hello. Everything Cars says, have I ever had a car with a forbidden fuel engine? If I had, sir, I would not be saying it, would I? Because we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Simone from Classics asks a very, very interesting question. Is there a video that you wish you could film again? Yeah, there are quite a few actually. There are some reviews I wasn't very happy with. The Hyundai Accent, for whatever reason, I wasn't really happy with the way that turned out. Um, there are other cars as well that I barely drove. For example, Vega Sparrow. I barely drove that because it wasn't possible to do it other than like a really short stretch of like private road. Um, it wasn't possible to drive it any more than that. That was you know, a shame. There were some other cars that are like that. Some of the videos just didn't turn out particularly well. Others I've done really quickly and they've turned out fantastically, and I don't want to do again. Sometimes I want to drive the particular cars again, but sometimes I just don't want to bother filming things again. Paulie Galtieri says, yeah, we don't talk about diesels on this channel, or Shane Ritchie, or the New Professionals. New Professionals was not good, despite the fact one of my friends actually was one of the leads, but he was one of the kind of secondary leads in it. A chap called Adrian Irvine. Very nice chap, but the series was not good. Max says, my cousin had one of those polos as his first car, but it's someone, yeah, Mark III Polo. My main memory was struggled with hills. Yeah, the 1 litre Mark III Polos are very slow. They're even slower than the Seat Arossa 1 litre. It's the same engine, just a 999cc engine, and they have 50 horsepower, and they are really, really slow. There's just no way we can get around it. Everything Cars says, what was the Morris Marina 2 like to drive? I mean, the video's on the channel if you want to watch it. I mean, I think I do say in there what it's like to drive. I suppose the short answer is not nearly as bad as somebody will tell you. I think, really. Do we have any more comments to come? One of the videos that I don't think a lot of people have watched on the channel, and bear in mind since the channel's been going since September 2018, is the 2 videos that we filmed in 2 parts, into 4 separate videos. In those days I couldn't edit, you know, to the extent that I can now. My editing's still terrible, but it's better than no editing. There are actually 4 videos about Bewley, and you know, that's a very interesting museum if you've never been to Bewley. I'm very blessed that since 2019 I've lived quite close to Bewley. It's less than half an hour from where we live, and so I've been there quite a lot, and it's very, very much a museum that you have to visit, really. Not just maybe for the cars in there, but for other attractions. Bewley Abbey is fascinating. My lady wife and I really like going there. The Abbey bit, and it's fascinating what still remains of it. And also Palace House, that was the first part of the museum that was ever open to the public, with the cars in the entrance hall. It's a location that was used in the Avengers in 1966. And the monorail's brilliant. Monorail is fantastic. I recently went to Chester Zoo with my lady wife because she's from Chester, and went to visit my father-in-law. Went to Chester Zoo, and we used to have a monorail, but it doesn't exist anymore, which is kind of it's kind of annoying in a way, because I want more monorail action. I think I've been watching too many James Bond films. JD in Rotterdam says, good evening, sir. Good evening to you, sir. Good weekend. Well, Mr. Coleman has my 460. I drove it up to him yesterday, and he's doing some work on it. So that's yesterday. Today was Drive It Day. With Test Buddy Motor Enthusiasts. There's a video to come on that. And I also filmed another episode of No Budget Reviews. The car that actually the owner really wanted me to film it because he wants to sell it. And so that car will be for sale. Like, he doesn't want a lot of money for it either. I'll explain that in the video. So that'll be live on the channel next week. 3 reviews to come on the channel next week, and loads of other videos too. So it says, I had a 2001 Polo 6N2. Yeah, it's a facelift Mark III. Great little car and very nippy, but sadly engine problems and big plumes of smoke. Unfortunately, that's quite common on the Mark III Polos. The engines do eventually give way, and problems like the one you've mentioned are quite common on them. I can't remember, so maybe somebody who's an expert on the Mark III Polos will tell you what those issues are, but it's not the first time I've heard about that. Unfortunately, they're not peerless reliability, those cars. For some reason, there's still tons of them around though, and they're very rusty now. Max says, I get a Beal each morning before work and get a coffee. It's a very nice place. Yeah, it is. It is well worth a visit if you've never been. I think if you go there and you make a donation, you can get an annual pass. They upgraded your annual pass, which is really good. Paulie Garchiri, what cars would you like to review in the future? I'm hoping for an early Rover Sterling and a Jaguar XJ40 sovereign with beige leather interior. Yes, those, but there's loads. I want to do like a Suzuki Kizashi, Mark III Polo. I'd really like to do a Volvo 360 facelift. Maybe once now I'm on the owners club, I might be able to get one of those. I will be doing a 440 soon because I've been offered a really nice late facelift 440, which is far better condition than my 460 is. So that's one that I've really wanted to do. I'll be knocking off the list. There's tons of cars I want to film. Original Suzuki Baleno, I want to do one of those. The list goes on and on and on. There's so many. I keep forgetting. The Day of Sparrow, I will be doing another one at some point. I've been after the car in question for about 3 years now, and it's just been really annoying trying to coordinate the diaries to film the second of Sparrow. But that will happen at some point. But there's tons. Julian Knight has been enjoying being a channel member. He got to see the Transport Museum with all Shambolic Shuffle with all the buses in it and other things early. Yeah, that's very good, sir. Max says, will you be at Classics on the Key next month? I don't think I can make any of the Classics on the Key events at all this year. So I've looked at the dates and I'm already busy on absolutely all of them, which is annoying. Now, the Classics on the Key people also run Classics on the Prom and also an event called South Coast Classics with a K. The South Coast Classics event happened just next to Bournemouth Airport, and the first one I've seen on there, I think I could probably make that one. So I've definitely got an eligible car now for that because the Volvo is eligible for it because it's Y registration or earlier, 2001 and a Y or earlier for those, and so I do have an eligible car to go to those events now. So I will be going to them if I can, but I've got absolutely tons of other ones to go to as well. PS Cavalier 95 says my 94M Corrado had problems. So just 16 valve. Okay, that's the same engine as in the Mark III GTI, isn't it? Mark III Golf GTI. Simone Classic says the valve stem oil seals have failed on the Mark III Polo. Okay, that's what the problem is, isn't it? Wasn't skilled enough to fix it. I'm not skilled enough to do anything on a car, Simone, you know that. JD in Rotterdam has got his BMW 218 recently, and it has a beige leather interior. I do like a nice beige leather interior, viewers. In fact, I'm in a beige leather interior right now. As you can see, it's most agreeable. So, yeah, that's obviously nice. Any other questions for this evening? Those of you, we've got about 12 people watching. That's good. I've just recorded a video actually with Mr. Coleman when I was up there yesterday with all the issues that the car has, and there are quite a lot. If you are a channel member on the Seat Toledo or Road 45 V6 membership levels, then you'll actually be able to see that video right now. I think I just actually put it up for you. Yeah, I did, yeah. So there you go. So you want to see what the issues are with it, and there are a lot. Then yes, you can go on there and have a look. What else? Have you have any other things? Oh, here we go. Got another thing coming in here. Paulie Gatsiri says, have you been enjoying the 480 so far? I think even the 460, sir. It's not as comfortable a long journey as the Rover. It's not only does it not have cruise control, but the seat doesn't really go back far enough for the length of my legs. And so I've been having to sort of fiddle with it to get it to a reasonably comfortable position. So I won't be doing vast numbers of really long journeys in that. The seats are very comfortable. It's just the pedal box is not as comfortable as in the Rover. So the Rover I'll be using for far more of the shows just because it's a bit more comfortable to drive a long way. The 460 I did make it to Mr. Coleman's in one hit, which was about 2 hours 20 minutes so it was okay. Simone says my 2001 Volkswagen Beetle I had a beige interior but not leather. I hope, Simone, that your Volkswagen Beetle didn't actually die due to chronic rust on the cells like most of them did, because that's most unfortunate that so many can die that way. Everything Car says, what's your favourite car? I have absolutely no idea. I don't know. It depends on what I'm actually doing and what sort of day it is, that sort of thing. It's yeah, it's a very very interesting question. I don't there isn't just one favourite car that I have. There isn't just one. There are lots. That's what my name says. Do you know if this is a museum with a Suzuki SC100 WizKid in it? I don't know. Yeah, I think I've seen an SC100 WizKid for a really long time. A really long time. Yeah, I don't know. Bad Book says, my aunt had an L-Reg Volvo 440 XI. That was the special edition based on the Li sort of base model, that one. It went on and did 180,000 miles. The thing is, it's like anything. The biggest problems with 440 460s are things like the speedometer, which mine is sort of done. Rust, that's common. And electrics and general build quality in my pre-facelift ones. The engine, they do get oil leaks on them, but they're generally quite solid if you look after them. It's the same engines in the Renault 11 and the Renault 9 1.7. On the earlier ones, later ones had slightly different capacities, but they're all that same Renault F-Type engine. And typical Volvo owner does keep up with the maintenance. So there we go. Simone says my Volkswagen was solid and is still on the road. Excellent. That's unusual for one of those, actually, not to have chronic rust on the sills. Max says the position of the seat on the HHR Rovers, the HHR 400, 45, ZS, and of course the Honda Civic 5-door. It's one of the favourite things about them. Yeah, it's a very comfortable car. The position of the seat is very, very good. Joe Turin from Longbridge may appreciate how much he missed his last one. Max is a very nice Rover 45, a personal line interior, which we saw actually, I think, in the very first part of the Shambolic Shuffle was in there. Sean Cook says my 2006 Volvo V70 had a beige leather interior, but of course we can't discuss it because we don't talk about diesels on this channel. Mark from Bad Book says, did your Beetle have the gerber and the cup holder? Interesting. Everything Car says, what happened to your Polo? We sold it. I mean, I got another car to replace too. I had my old Dolomite at the time, and the Polo, just to me, as I think I was about 23 or something, and it just got kind of boring after a while. Being a young chap at 23, it just wasn't that interesting. So I played around with Dolomite for a bit and thought the Polo would be okay. And then I bought a Seat Leon to replace both of them, and I had that for a few years, and that was just a bit more a luxurious, more of a modern car, really. Um, yeah. Simone says, I went to drive it today. Yeah, drive it today is very good. I enjoyed drive it today. I was very lucky to drive a Rover P5B and Triumph Stag. I do have a Stag coming up on my channel actually next month, viewers. Someone's offered me one. The viewers very kindly offered me a Stag, and I'm really looking forward to it. Oh. Simone says the Beetle have rotational cup holders. Excellent. Max says the 45 is going to have a lot of work carried out to it soon. Yeah, but most 45s do need a fair bit of work these days if they've just been sitting around for a while. But he tends to get it spotless, so you can let me have a go. Yeah, I can have a go in a nice 45. I have a nice 45 myself, so I don't think I'll say no. Max misses his Stag and doesn't miss fuel consumption. The question is though, I'm trying to work out with a Stag. Can you get a Stag for under £5,000 still? Is that possible? I know on the P5s it's just about possible sometimes once in a blue moon. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know about Stags. Paulie Galtieri says, when are you looking to doing a European road trip, like Mr. Richard's trip to Gothenburg? Depends if I've got like a second driver who's willing to do it, because I don't really like driving more than about 200 miles in a day. It depends what car it is, but yeah, I have done trips like that. Many years ago, I drove all the way from Epsom, where I was living, all the way to visit my sister in central Germany. A car without cruise control. That was a very long journey. That very long. I did that twice. Don't do that sort of thing too much these days. So, Mark from Bad Book says, Simone got to drive a P5B and a Stag in the same day. Very lucky. Yeah, that's a good day. That. Max says you can only get a Stag for £5,000 if it's rough and been entered swapped. I was in like a 300 Rover V8. Anything with the original 3 litre is north of £10,000. What am I going to do, viewers? Oh yes, Project Nigel is in the chat. Good evening to you, sir, and congratulations on 4,000 subscribers. Everyone's saying hello to Paul Project Nigel. Mark from Bad Book says you can't get a Robo Stag for 5,000. Okay, that's good. Brad Robshaw says, do you like the music of Shawadi? I think I've heard of that before, I'm afraid. Yes, Paul Project Nigel recently passed 4,000 subscribers, and he did a very nice video at Pride of Longbridge. In fact, I think I even appeared in it briefly because I was right at the end of filming then. I was in like part 8 or 9, and it had been a long day. So I then left quite soon after that appearance that I did in the video because I was a bit tired and I wasn't very well. But I still got round, and you can watch people's videos that have proper editing in them as opposed to shambolic shuffles, which have virtually none. Paulie Galtieri says the Triumph 3-litre V8 sounds better than the Rover V8. I think we're going to have to ask Mr. Coleman about that because he will know the answer. Shawadi Waddy. They were big in 74. I wasn't born in 74, I don't think. Anything car says, what's the oldest car driven? That's actually an easy question. The oldest car driven is a 1961 Rover 100 P4 that belongs to Alex Max's assets, which he drives on a daily basis. I won't be driving one of those on a daily basis. That's all I can say. I somehow managed to drive that. That was a difficult car to drive, actually. That's not my name. It says, do you like to drive with the radio off? I do. Sometimes I don't often use a radio. I normally stream my music, and I can even do it in the 460 because I've got an adapter to stream to the original 1991 Volvo radio in that. So that's what I tend to do. Julian Knight says, "Is there a bad sounding V8?" Is that a philosophical question? Because I suppose it could be. Yeah. So there we go. We have anything else that's come in, or do we need to call it a night? Because I do have quite a lot of videos to edit. Still, I've got an episode No Budget Reviews, and also got the Drive It Day video to edit tonight. So plenty to keep going, and of course I will be seeing some of you in a week's time at Mr. Richardson's social event for the Furious Driving at the Motorist near Leeds. I'm not bringing the Volvo because I don't have it at the moment, and also it's probably a little bit too far to drive in that unless I have loads of brakes. Yeah, the Rover will be coming to that, and that's a much better car for long distance. It's much better. Let's just deal with these sort of comments here. Mark from Bad Book says, "I've not driven anything older than a 78 Princess." Yeah, I driven one of those, and that was interesting because it had no speedo in it. The head gasket had blown, but otherwise it's a great car. Max says, "As a former Stag owner, it does have a very unique sound. The 5-litre version of the RV8 sounds better." Ooh. We had a few Griffiths in the family, and they're biblical. Your family's had some quite interesting cars, haven't they, sir? Hilton Classic says, "I can listen to all the rattles and squeaks from the radio off." Yeah, the 460's got such a rattly dash, and there's not much we can do about it. So I think I have to turn the radio up in that. Vladimir Politov says, "Good evening." Good evening, sir. Afraid we're about to sort of finish. But Paul from Project Nigel says, yes, he's coming to the Furious Driving social event next Sunday at the Motorist, and I think he's actually driving the 45 V6 there. I don't think you've ever driven one, have you, Paul? I don't think you have. So you get to have a chance, because the chap who owned the car I drove today had a go in the 45 V6, and he now wants one, so that's interesting. Polletto said, "Did Mr. Coleman like what we were talking about last week?" Do you mean a fortnight ago, sir? I can't quite remember what we did talk about then. Sean Cook says, "Their big hit Under the Moon of Love was 1976. There's a great photo of them with their cars in Leicester City Football Club. Jaguars, Mercedes, sort of shadow a Granada, a Trans Am." I think out of all those, I'd probably choose the Granada personally. Anyway, I think that's enough for tonight. Thank you ever so much indeed, once again, for watching this special live stream number 63. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like us, leave a comment below. You can become a member if you like. I'm actually going to start listing the members' names in the video now because they deserve to be thanked. Just a very quick thing here from Simone. I'm doing myself anytime soon. I haven't forgotten, Simone, about coming to visit you. It just keeps proving very difficult to literally sort that out, but I haven't forgotten about that. But anyway, thank you ever so much indeed, everybody, once again.